this is something that is called the Polyvagal Theory. And it sounds pretty complicated, but it is about your nervous system. And I actually decided to teach that in this workshop because I learned that many participants really benefit from knowing this model, because it helps them to navigate. Do I want to be in an exercise? Do I want to be outside of an exercise? Do I want to watch? Do I want to sit still? Do I want to move? All of those decisions are a bit easier if you know about the nervous system. And there is an old paradigm about the nervous system, which actually divided it in two parts. And this is for the people that already know a little bit, so you can integrate. Before they said there is the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight-flight, and there was the parasympathetic, which was the rest-digest. That is how they separated it before. But at some point, Stephen Porges discovered that the parasympathetic, which was before called rest-digest, actually has two branches. It has a rest-digest branch, but it also has a branch that is a complete shutdown. If it happens in babies, for example, their heart rate drops, their breathing drops, and they can even die. So it's not always this nice rest-digest. So because he discovered that, he developed this theory, this polyvagal theory, which has to do with two vagus nerves, more vagus nerves. That's why it's called that way. And I want to share a little bit about it with you. There's another concept that is pretty important, and someone was talking about it and sharing before already, is that there's a lot that happens on a subconscious level. And Stephen Porges, he developed a word for that. He calls that neuroception. And that means that your body, your biology is constantly scanning for danger, either in the body or in the environment or in your relating with other people. So it's constantly checking, is this safe, is this unsafe, is this safe, is this unsafe? And because it's not perception, because there's no awareness with it, we call that neuroception. And if you want to forget the difficult words, that's fine as well, but just so you heard it, and I might use it at some point, and if you forget, just ask me and I will explain it again. So this nervous system is constantly checking, am I safe, am I unsafe? And then there's a hierarchy in which it handles the difficult things, the dangerous things. And it starts in the newest part, in the evolutionary newest part, and that's called ventral vagal. It's just a name. They also call it social engagement system. This is the first part where through communication, through connection, your biology tries to handle the threat. So it's just talking a little bit like the things we did before with practicing names, looking at each other, sharing a little bit, talking, listening. The second part, if this part doesn't work, if this doesn't solve the threat, keep your questions until I've been a little bit later, okay? If this part hasn't solved the threat, the second part comes in, and we call that the sympathetic nervous system. And it actually tries to bring in protection through movement. We also call this fight-flight sometimes, but it's more than fight-flight, but it's a mobilization system. So it tries through running away, through fighting, to get you out of the situation, to get you back to safety again. If that part doesn't solve it, the dorsal kicks in. So the dorsal is also a parasympathetic nervous system. These are the two parasympathetic nervous systems. And this is actually an immobilization, so it shuts the body down. You might have seen that in prey animals when they are attacked, that at some point they just go limp. They pretend they are dead. It's a death scare, actually, in your nervous system. It doesn't mean that with your rational mind it is a death threat, but your nervous system perceives it as, it's a death threat. I couldn't solve it here, I could not get away or fight it, so I'm collapsing. So that's in a broad sense how your nervous system works. And to make it a little bit more clear, I put some things here that will explain to you a little bit about how does this state feel. When I'm in this state, when my nervous system is in state, how does this feel? When I'm in ventral vagal, I feel safe, I feel connected, I feel at ease. The attention is directed towards connection, and that can be either with yourself or with someone else. So even if I'm not connecting to someone else, but I feel really connected to myself, I can feel safe. I'm in ventral. Your heart rate is regulated here. It's in balance. And if you notice your breath, it's just a full and easy breath. It's not hard. This is also the place where your body can restore, grow, where your health is, where you are healthy, actually. So you hope that also when you are asleep, that you might be here, that your body is restoring. So you can imagine if you're not here enough, your body will have problems. There will come up problems with your organs, with your digestion, stuff like that. What happens if you're here is that you can tune into conversations, to human voices, and that the disturbing noises will be tuned out. I always know that, for example, now I'm a little bit tense because I'm explaining it like this the first time the video's on, all your eyes are on me. I notice I go a little bit downwards because I hear the cars running outside, I hear the lower frequency voices. If I'm totally here, I'm not hearing them. It's also when you're really disturbed by your neighbor's sounds, you know that you're probably not completely here because your body's going here. Because if it's here, it just tunes out the distracting noise. Maybe also for you when you're listening to me now, is it easy for you to tune into my voice? Or do you really need to work hard to focus? When I'm here, I can acknowledge that I have this stress. And I can explore options. For example, I'm here enough now to acknowledge that I have a little bit of stress, but I can just breathe and share it to you and you know, become more relaxed again by doing that. So that's options that you have when you are here. When I'm here, I can also reach out for support, or I can offer support. So those are the things that are connected to this place, and there is more. It's just that I just had so much space, and it can be interesting for yourself to notice, how does it feel for me when I'm in this ventral place? How does my body feel? What am I seeing then? What are the thoughts that go with this state? So when there is a little bit of distress, and that can be just coming into a new group in the morning, or doing something on video, or it can be the tiniest thing, having someone in the group that looks like your ex-partner, for example, could already be a trigger. So there can be thousands of triggers, and they are different for everyone. Then your sympathetic nervous system kicks in a little bit. When I'm in this sympathetic state, in this mobilized state, I misread cues. So even, for example, if you look at me with a neutral face, I will think you are angry, you are upset, all of these things. Instead of that, it's just neutral. And when I would be here, I would read neutral as neutral. But when I'm here, I read it as a bad thing, because I'm more focused on cues of danger. And that can also be in voices. So you can think, why are you angry at me? And then someone says, I'm not angry. Yeah, you are. I can hear it in your voice. But then the question is it really in the voice, or is it in your ears, because you are in a different state? When you are here, it's also hard to sit still, because you have this energized, mobilizing energy. And you might notice that your focus narrows. that it's harder to have this soft gaze and you feel like you're more there. I'm actually, when I'm here, I'm listening for sounds of danger. So I'm listening for the bad things. And I don't even hear the friendly voices. I can remember conversations where I was saying something and I said, yeah, but I just told you an hour ago. Or I just told you yesterday. And the other person says, no, you didn't. And then I'm like, how is that even possible? But the other person actually wasn't hearing it, because they were probably here. When someone is here, they are not hearing your friendly words or your human voice. They are just scanning for danger. And it's not on purpose. It's a subconscious process. But it can be interesting to remember that, to know that, like, hey, they are not on purpose not listening. They are really not hearing me at this moment. And you might notice you are scanning the environment for danger. I know that when I'm here, I always want to know where is the exit. Where can I go out? Where is my car parked? How do I get out of here? You know, those are the other cues that my body gives me, like scanning, okay, where's my way out? Is it still safe? I notice when I'm with a new teacher, I'm always scanning, like, is this person safe enough? Can I trust this person? Do I want to learn from this person or not? I had a few not so great experiences with teachers, so I noticed that when I get into a new group, and I had it last week in Portugal, in the beginning, my body's just scanning. I'm reading all the facial cues, you know, all the body posture, all the movement, everything she says. I'm like really critically listening to that, because I'm still here. Yeah. And sometimes we get a bit upset about this place, because it's a difficult place to be in, because you're pretty charged and it's not really comfortable. But what I try to remember is that my biology is trying to protect me, to keep me safe, and that's why all of this happens. It's just that it's not always programmed really adaptive for my current life. For example, when you have had a pretty troubled childhood like I did, you know, this system is like really programmed very sensitive, because it needed to survive. So now, even when I'm safe, it's still programmed really sensitive, and it takes some time to slowly start to reprogram that. So when this part doesn't solve it, or I am in a space where I don't feel safe and I feel this urge to get out and go home and hide under my blanket, and I'm not doing it, I will probably go into shutdown. In me, it starts with feeling a little bit distant, little bit disconnected. And that's how it starts. And when it continues, it can go into this complete collapse. But it starts pretty small with me. I have it here. You can feel distant, you can feel disconnected. You can also feel a bit of dissociation when you feel a bit foggy, like you're not really here, like you're looking at it from a distance. That's what happens here. When you notice your breath, it's almost imperceptible, so you can hardly feel or notice it. It's like really a superficial breath and slow. Your heart rate decreases, so it goes down, and you might feel numb. Here, I also usually feel cold. So when you are feeling cold, you can ask yourself, is it really cold, or am I maybe more in this dorsal mode? When you're really hot here, you usually get a bit more hot, especially when you're more in your fight energy. So also, your body cues will tell you, where am I in my nervous system? What's my nervous system doing at the moment? When I'm here, safety and hope feel unreachable. It feels like way too far, way too much trouble. I will never get there. So I feel this kind of despair. And it's an escape into not knowing, not feeling, and sometimes even feeling that I'm not being. I'm not even being here. And this can actually feel pretty comfortable. To me, this dorsal place is my home away from home, what Dana calls it. It's like I feel comfortable there. And when I'm here, I actually don't want to move out. I don't want to get myself moving. Because if I would go up and I would move, I would be in danger maybe again. So my whole system is trying to keep me here, which makes it pretty hard to move out. To move out of sympathetic through ventral is easier because there are more neural pathways. It's easier to move out. So this is a more fluent back and forth way. But to really come out of your dorsal is quite a sensitive process. And you really need to take slow steps. Because if you start moving pretty fast or pretty intense or doing something that is hard for you, your nervous system will go up and you will like push yourself in there, and then it feels overwhelmed and drops down again. So you just get this loop, which doesn't really help you up. Can also happen here. You know, you feel safe, stress. Okay, no, I'm safe again. Okay, and then a cue of danger comes again, poof, and you fall down again. So you can sometimes get caught in these loops, in these nervous system loops. So that's why I always tell people, be gentle with yourself when you want to move out. It's also when you're feeling you are here, and a lot of people are here for their whole life maybe, or are here. And when you are here, you might not feel like doing an exercise. You not feel like moving and getting up. But you can imagine that the only way to get here is to move a little bit. Which doesn't mean that you need to push yourself and do an exercise when that feels totally overwhelming. But I say sometimes just get up and go to the toilet. Or get up and get yourself a cup of tea. Choose something small that doesn't overwhelm you, because you want to, it's like this fine line. You don't want to overwhelm yourself, but you do want to get a little bit of movement in. So those are the three states that the polyvagal theory is about. And there are also some blended states, and I wrote them down here. For example, when you have this huge sympathetic charge, when you are scared but the energy is rushing through your body, and you cannot move. You feel like it's overwhelming, all this energy to move, and you cannot move. For example, when you see a deer in the headlights, they have this freeze state. They are like fully charged, but unable to move. We call that a freeze state. So you can feel that when your body's full and you cannot move. When you're purely here, you feel drained. You feel empty, you feel weak, you feel slow, cold, more like this winter sleep kind of feeling. I find it, this is more charged. Stuck. And then there are two other blended states, because if you do have your ventral vagal online, so you do feel safe, you can also access your mobilizing energy, your sympathetic energy, and that's the place where you, for example, can play. These are the names Dana calls them. She also invented the letter like this. But you can also imagine that, for example, in sex, in group sports, you also have your ventral, your communication safe part, and your mobilizing online. Those parts are working. So that's the play state. So you have the two of them online. And if you're feeling safe and you immobilize, we call that stillness. So that's a place where you can be still, where you can immobilize and still feel safe. And that's a pretty hard state for some people. Someone was sharing about it, and even when you are here, when you are in this stillness space with someone, and one cue of danger comes in, and it can be a smell, it can be a sound, it can be a thought, it can be anything, you go back into dorsal because your ventral falls away. So actually this ventral is what is organizing your state when you feel safe. So you can only feel safe when this ventral is online, when it's working. It's like a coordination mechanism for your body and safety. And as soon as it isn't working enough and it falls away, then you drop down the ladder. I'm just checking if I had something else that I wanted to say. Yeah, I heard two quotes about this dorsal place that I really liked, and I wanted to share with you because they are so clear. Van Gogh, the painter, once said, and I think he wasn't talking about dorsal, but he was talking about the feeling state. One feels as if one were lying bound, hand and foot, at the bottom of a deep, dark well, utterly helpless. That's like this dorsal state. And I heard Dana say, and I really like that, she says, when I'm in dorsal, I need the people around me to love me a little louder, because I cannot even hear them and cannot feel the love. So love me a little bit louder when I'm in dorsal. And that really touched my heart, because I know this dorsal place so well, and it's hard to reach out from here, because you can only reach out when you feel safe. So we often say, why didn't you ask for help? Why didn't you call me? Because it feels impossible when I'm here. When I ask you, what is it that you want, and you are here, you don't know. Because also parts of your brain go offline. So your decision center, your speech center, they just go offline. Can you hold it for a minute? Yeah, and then we'll get back to you. So it makes sense that those things are just impossible when you're here or here. So the first thing when you are here is not to try to fix or solve anything, but change your state. Get this part online again. Because you need this part for relating, for communication. Just check one more time. Yeah, and what's also important is to realize that those cues of danger are different for everyone. We had it in a previous workshop. Yulene chose the music, and she put on a song that she really liked, and for me it was connected to a huge heartbreak. So for her it was ventral, and for me it was like whoosh, shit, and I was pretty stuck there. It took me quite some regulation, because there was so much stress and so much overwhelm and so much emotion connected to it. So it can be different. If I'm eating some garlic here, some people will love it, and some people will go like, oh, I don't want it. They might go a little bit here. So it's with all of those things. It's if you are looking like my ex, then I might get a little bit defensive, even if it has nothing to do with you. And when you look like my best friend, I might be here with you. So it doesn't always make sense rationally. It's just your biology that is deciding. There were some questions. I think you were first. You wanted to?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, you said something in the beginning, a name that you also call the ventral vagal.
Yeah, we call it also social engagement system.
Social engagement system.
Yeah. That's how we call it. And your question?
The preservation mode, the dorsal vagal, etc. It made me think of depression. Sometimes I feel a little bit depressed, or some friends of mine are very depressed. Is depression similar, or maybe it is even a dorsal vagal phase, or do you think that? Or?
Well, when I am depressed, what I notice in my body is that I get stuck here.
Yeah.
Because it's not such a, we all move through these states. And that's just natural and normal. The thing when it becomes a problem is when you get stuck somewhere. And for me, when I'm depressed, I get stuck here. And I don't manage to move out. Even if I want it really bad. You know, because maybe at some days I move out a little bit and immediately the overwhelm kicks in again. So I'm stuck, and sometimes it's stuck here, and sometimes I have a little loop towards this mobilization and I just fall back again. Yeah. So it's actually a state of being. Yeah. A lot of people with chronic health conditions are also stuck in one of the two. So that's related. It's usually a dysregulation of your nervous system that causes problems, because when you are here, your body is just trying to survive. It's not going to nourish your organs and stuff. That's not important. It just wants to keep you ready to run. And here it shuts down. You could see your heart rate degrades, your digestion becomes lower. So if you're here a lot, for example, my gut started to give me a lot of trouble being in this place for a long time. Yeah. And you can also imagine, like when you hear a lot, that your stomach will be pretty stressed. And there are more things, and it's, you know, I cannot say when you are here you have these and these and these conditions, because it's different for everyone. But it is clear that when you are here, your body will have problems if you stay there too long. It's natural to go in and go out and go in and go out, but if you are stuck, your body's not made for that.
Yeah, I was just thinking, maybe we will get into that, but ways to move from one state to another. I know we're different, all of us, that we will have different things that will work, but maybe you have some.
Yes, yeah, I can say something. So when I have my check-in with my assistant in the morning, we talk about co-regulation, because what we usually try to do is try to get ourselves out, you know, and we think we need to do it alone, and that's a pretty tough job. That's pretty hard. What makes it easier if there's someone with you that can, we call this co-regulate, because if that other person is in their ventral and it's sending you some of this ventral energy, your system might easier respond with also moving up towards ventral. The difficult thing in that is that the cues are often misread when you are here. So even when someone is being friendly, I might not see it as friendly. So it's quite an art also to notice, like, what is it that you need? Would it be nice if I sit with you? For some people that might be a cue of safety. For other people they might need to walk. For some people, someone might want to sit in front, or there, or more to the side. Just feel into yourself, what makes me feel more relaxed? Do you want the hand on your knee or on your shoulder, or do you not want any physical contact? So there are things that help, and it's also really individual. I noticed, and I cannot say it in general, I can tell you what works for me. For example, when I'm here, there are things that help, like a warm shower, making some tea, just small things, calling a friend, if I can manage. And sometimes even staying in bed for the whole day, resting, can also be good. Or doing some gardening, small things, not a really big gardening, but maybe planting some seeds, something like that. So I try to get to nourish myself and make myself feel safe again. For example, when I hear, for me it helps to dance really wild, or just rant at a friend, just ask, may I just rant for like 5 or 10 minutes? We agree on that before, and just get everything out, what's upsetting me. Before I was jogging a lot, and that was helping when I was here. Sports can help. So there are different things in different states. For example, for me, I like to bake sometimes. And when I'm here, that is helping. But here I might just look at a recipe book or watch a show where they are doing it, where I don't even need to do it. So in the way I deal with it is different. Gardening, for example, is for me something that really helps. And when I'm here, it might be just the regular things. When I'm here, I might want to be like really with my shovel in the ground and put some physical energy in. And when I'm here, I might just look at the seeds. What do I want to plant next time, you know, or just do some gentle stuff. So it depends. So you can think about the things that you really like to do and maybe see like how would they help me in different states. Yeah. Here I like to clean my house and order everything that helps me. Here I'm happy if I've done the dishes. You know, just yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
And social connection often can help. And just, you know, when I'm here, I just want someone to sit with me and watch Netflix together without talking. Here I might want some more interaction, so it depends on where you are.
I have two questions. One is I'm wondering where the sympathetic mobilized part is on the vagus nerve, because you have the ventral vagal upstairs and then dorsal
It's not.
vagal. It's not.
So these two are the vagus nerve.
Yeah.
They are both sympathetic. This is the ventral. The ventral actually means it goes until your diaphragm. So this is your ventral. It goes here, and your dorsal is more down into your organs and your sexual organs. And some are saying at the moment it even goes into your legs, but it's still not really scientifically clear where it exactly goes. But some back and forth. So your ventral, your dorsal vagal, and your sympathetic actually comes from the back of your spine.
Okay. And my second question is, I imagine that while social engagement will help you move up the ladder, but it will probably only help if the other person is in this ventral state, right?
Yes, so your question is actually, can I also co-regulate when I myself are in these states? And that's not working. Yeah. Because we have these mirror neurons that sense the state of the other person. So you can only co-regulate someone into ventral if you're in ventral yourself. And there are some exercises for that, but that goes too far to do that all in this workshop. And because I'm so enthusiastic about it, I always share a lot. But that's why I said to my clients, I'm going to offer another 4-day training purely on the nervous system. How do you do this regulation and how do you move through? And so you need to be in ventral to be able to co-regulate. So if you're not in ventral, don't try to co-regulate. Sometimes someone comes up to me when I'm here and they are here. And that just makes me pissed off because it's like it's not working. Go away. It's like your biology senses that. And so my assistants, we did a little bit of an example, like how do you get yourself into ventral quickly, so you're not so dysregulated before you connect to someone. And that sounds easy, and it's possible when you feel pretty okay. When you're completely here, it's not really an option. I had it once in a workshop. Something really big happened in my life, and I was in a complete dorsal. And I was talking to my assistants about it, like how do we continue this day? Should I cancel, or can we organize it in a different way? Because I knew I could do the theory even from here, because it was, you know, so simple for me. I did it like so many times. It was just in my head. I could do this from my head, being dissociated, but I could not co-regulate people. I could not be there with people in their process, and I was happy to have enough assistance. And so we changed. I did the theory part, and they did the co-regulation part and being with people in their exercise process. But it takes awareness to know, like, okay, where am I? What can I do? If I would be here and I would try to co-regulate people, that's just not working and making it worse.
You mentioned some of the activities that
Can you speak up a little bit?
Yeah, that
Thank
you
you.
mentioned some of the activities that maybe helps you when you are in the sympathetic system, maybe cleaning or doing more heavy work, gardening. But does that, when you said that, I thought the activities might need to be something that to calm you down instead of actually like more like energetic, heavy activities. If we want to leave that state to go to the ventral vagal, would it be also good to do something that to calm myself down instead of actually keeping my energy that high?
You mean when you are here?
Yes.
Yeah, well, what I actually do is because when you're here, a lot of adrenaline is made. More things, but mostly adrenaline. And that's kind of stuck in your body. So if you don't start to move, the adrenaline doesn't get out. And you keep this charged up feeling. It's also when you drank too much coffee, it's also here because your adrenaline is rushing. So for me, it helps to get the adrenaline out. And usually what happens in my body is that I get this huge movement and then I collapse a bit and cry. And then I can breathe again and then I get back to ventral. But I first need to get that out. But it can be different for different people. You know, if you moving more is something that your body doesn't handle, it might put you there. So it's like this journey to explore, like, hey, what's working for me? Yeah. And you can explore with that in the next 3 days. Like, checking yourself, where do I think I am? What would help now? Well, I don't know. Okay, try something. How does it feel then? Okay, this worked or didn't work. Okay, try something else. How does it feel when I do this? How does it feel when I step into the exercise when I'm here? Do I need something in between maybe? Or, you know, so it's like this playground of exploration I invite you to just see. And we are all practicing. And you will make mistakes. I make mistakes. I still make mistakes, you know, that get me stuck somewhere. And the thing is that what I noticed is that this really helps me to notice it sooner when I get stuck somewhere, and that I have some tools, well, to move out of it. And I always say, you know, be gentle with yourself. This is your protection system. It really has a function. You wouldn't be alive without this. So it's really trying to help you. You're just trying to reshape it a little bit and reprogram it so it's more adaptive to your current life, your current state.
So is there a part of this, I imagine, is like we're born with it, and then there is a part that you get trained in, let's say.
Yes. Yeah. So we are all born with the 3 parts.
Yeah.
And it gets, you know, it starts, it's learning. It's a learning system. It learns from your experiences. But that can already start in the womb, you know, and you feel your mother's experiences. And even beyond that, there has been research that, for example, when there has someone that has been to war, and then 3 generations later, they still have the responses in the nervous system, even, you know, if it's not a direct. So it's a very complex thing, and I think we haven't really figured it out yet how it exactly works, but there has been research that it works like that, and also just in your daily experiences. You know, the more you go here, the broader that path becomes, the more connections there are. You know, so the easier your body will go there. Most people have a preference, and it's not a conscious preference, but the biology has a preference to either go there or either go here. I know I have one cat, and she's really sensitive to this. And it's really interesting because if people have more this preference, she will come to you. But if you have more this preference, and especially if you have a fight response, she will stay away for weeks. She will not come close. So also animals sense this, like, hey, where do you go? Where's your... And I noticed I had some friends who have a really strong fight response. And even when they are not aware, I notice I cannot relax with them because my body is too sensitive to that. It constantly fires cues of danger. So I wondered, okay, do I want to be friends with this person or not? Well, some I can be, but with others I just need to say our nervous system don't match. Doesn't make me happy, you know. Then I feel uncomfortable and on edge all the time.
I have another question.
Mhm.
Because you said you can reprogram.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is that I'm reprogramming my own nervous system because it's like overly charged and working. It fires way too quickly. So what I learn is, what I teach myself is to have more flexibility, to move through the system. So when you learn to move through and still feel safe, so keep your ventral line a little bit, you actually learn you teach your nervous system that it can move through. So it becomes more flexible, and flexibility is actually what you want to have a healthy nervous system. So it doesn't mean you always need to be here. You know, what I mean is that your nervous system regains flexibility.
So, do you mean that something stays safe in a way, although there's a lot of unsafety?
Yeah, what I can do, and well, it goes too far to practice all of that, but I can keep my ventral online more, even if it's bits. That it's just enough, so I can actually it's almost like visiting them. I visit those places, but I still have this part online. Yeah. And that needs specific practices, and you probably need someone to be there with you to keep this ventral part online. Yeah. So there are practices, and that's what we will be doing in my nervous system training, because it takes more time and practice. Yeah.
So it is possible to be a bit in both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there are blended states here, but you can also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I experienced
Yeah.
too.
It's like a continuum. It's not like now. In the beginning, I thought like it's either this or that or that. It's like this continuum, even within these places, because within this, I might have a continuum from, well, I feel pretty okayish, until complete bliss. And here I might feel a little bit agitated, or getting more alert, to rage, to my killer instinct kicking in, being able to kill. And here I might feel distant, a little bit outside of the group, like I don't belong, until severe depression, complete collapse of my body, and all the states in between. Yeah. And they can mix and mingle.
Yeah.
That was a lot, right? Maybe take a breath if you feel like it. Maybe move your body a little bit, or maybe just your face. More questions around this. Clearer, and you can always come back to it if you want. And why I explain it now at the beginning, because I've before already also sometimes explain it later, is that it might help you in your decisions. Like, what's healthy for me now? What small step of being in an exercise or outside an exercise can help me? If you're in it and you cannot feel what you want, you cannot feel your body, you know you're probably here. And that's okay too, you know, it's also okay to be here or here. And you can feel, what might be a nice small thing that I can do for myself. Or maybe I can reach out help. For me, you know, when it's hard to reach out here, what helps me is when I know that I'm here, and I know that it's hard to reach out here, just by knowing that makes it possible for me to reach out. So that's why it's so important that you know, I'm here, it's hard to reach out. That's why my body doesn't want it. And I know it helps me, so I am going to do it.
Also, what I like in that state is that knowing that it's really hard to think about what I need to get out of that state. Like, it helps me to go, for instance, towards you and say like, okay, I'm really stuck. I don't know what I need. Can you help me out, please? Yeah. Instead of like feeling that I need to know what I need from the other person before I can move. That really helps me.
Yeah. And sometimes when someone is here, I just say, I usually use 3 things. Would you prefer to take a nap now, have something to drink or eat, or do you want to go outside? Or do you want me to hold you? Do you want to be alone? Or do you want a blanket? I just give a few options so they can choose something, which makes choosing a little bit easier. And I always like